The huge engravings on the endless ice ground suddenly shot up into the sky. So, the dark green mountain vanished into thin air. This is a special teleportation technique. Mountain Passenger laughed within the mountain. It's a little like your star pagoda. There's a large amount of space within your pagoda. From one space to another, it'll easily form a teleportation path. This is also a method of getting closer. It just condenses the path into a single point. Luo Feng listened, his eyes filled with doubt. He understood the meaning, but he didn't understand the intricacies. Haha, I've said it before, the 3 rebirth eras, the 2 sacred lands universe, probably no more than 3 can recognize it. And their recognition speed isn't even as fast as mine. Mountain Passenger laughed. Even the strongest of the universe don't understand. How would you understand? As long as you know this is one of the universe boat's abilities, it'll be enough. Actually, from what I see, the universe boat is an incomparably mysterious treasure. It's just that compared to the most powerful treasures we know, it's even more mysterious. I think so too. Luo Feng nodded. What do you mean you think so too? This universe boat has the shape of a boat, the refinement marks are so obvious, many absolute warriors suspect it to be an incomparably terrifying treasure. Alright, the teleportation is over. Mountain Passenger said. The light outside was dim. Space and time flowed. In a quiet space, a mountain appeared out of thin air. Look outside. Mountain Passenger pointed to the outside world. The dark green mountain itself swiftly became nothing, not obstructing one's vision at all. It's very beautiful, a very simple space. Luo Feng looked out. This space wasn't big. In the middle of a huge lake was an island. There were no plants on the island. There were only beautiful sculpted stone palaces. The ancient palaces were undulating. Teacher, I can feel the 2 scales are within the lake. Luo Feng said. I already know where these 2 scales of yours came from. Mountain Passenger pointed downwards. This huge lake and the water of the lake is the vast domain of ice and water that is about 3 days away from here. I reckon that your 2 scales fell into the domain of ice and water, and perhaps flowed here through some secret passage. Teacher, I'll head down first. Luo Feng, however, was extremely impatient. He didn't have the time to chat with his teacher. Haha, go ahead. Mountain Passenger smiled and nodded. He sat on the scarlet pyramid and flew out of the mountain peak. It whizzed down and directly dived into the icy waters. He continued to drill downwards. Before in the ice water domain, Luo Feng had collected over 100,000 scales, hence he was very clear that the ice water had no threat at all. Accurately speaking, the entire abyss had no threat to the star tower. At most, Luo Feng would never be able to escape. Over there. Luo Feng's senses were getting stronger. In the depths of the lake, the blood-colored pyramid continued to sink. Then, a misty golden light quickly condensed into a huge golden hand and grabbed the 2 scales. Haha, got it. He returned to the core space of the mountain. Mountain Passenger stood at the side with a smile. Luo Feng was extremely excited. He swiftly made the 2 scales in his hands recognize him as their master. Immediately, the half-finished Godly Extermination Armor disintegrated. Along with the large amount of scales that hadn't been absorbed before, in an instant, a total of 8999999 scales floated around Luo Feng. Most of the scales were black with a small portion being gold. Wow. In an instant, the fusion was incomparably precise. This made Luo Feng exclaim. First, he was able to create many techniques and construct them with engravings. He even disassembled close to 9 million scales. Defense, close combat, long-range engravings were all fused exquisitely. To be able to create such a treasure, it was unbelievable. Not bad. Mountain Passenger nodded in praise. Luo Feng's black scale armor had 4 silver wings on his back. Suddenly the color of the scale armor changed, becoming silver. Even his golden right hand became silver. The shape also changed slightly. This way, even Lord Wu Hun wouldn't be able to recognize you. Mountain Passenger smiled and nodded. Luo Feng was excited too. However, Wu Hun actually used this demon extermination armor like it was a treasure of the palace. This armor is slightly damaged. Mountain Passenger said, it should be from Wu Hun's injuries in the magma sea. Luo Feng nodded. He could feel that the demon extermination armor was indeed slightly damaged. Give it to me, I'll help you fix it. Mountain Passenger said. Yes. Luo Feng didn't act pretentiously. He was even more grateful. The damage is actually very slight. It doesn't cost much. However, this treasure is only second to the most powerful treasures. In the entire Cosmos Sea, there aren't many who can fix it. Mountain Passenger said confidently, if there's one person in the Cosmos Sea who can fix it, it's naturally me. Luo Feng was speechless. His teacher was indeed very confident when it came to crafting treasures. However, since he had a favor to ask of his teacher, he had to coax him. Luo Feng temporarily passed the demon extermination armor to his teacher. However, his teacher wasn't in a rush to fix it. Instead he said, let's go to that island to take a look. This mysterious space is independent of many other places. It should be the space where one of the strongest warriors of the universe ship lived. Luo Feng nodded. Universe ship a long time ago. Accurately speaking, before the 2 sacred lands were born, before the universe ship was one of the 3 forbidden grounds, there should have been people who used it. This was because the black token, the green token, and the silver token corresponded to an independent space in the secret room. They were actually special spaces for resting and training. If Leaning Peak World and Flowing Mountain were said to be born naturally, the universe ship's refinement marks were very obvious. Hua. The mountain swiftly flew, very quickly reaching the air above the island in the middle of the lake. After which, it slowly descended and landed on the ground, revealing a cave on the mountain. Let's go out and take a look. Mountain passenger led the way out. Teacher outside. Luo Feng couldn't help but speak. One had to be careful in the abyss. There's no danger within the island. Mountain passenger had already walked outside. Yes. Luo Feng could only follow. However, his golden horned beast was still within the blood pyramid. Following his teacher, he walked out of the mountain and landed on the island's surface. This island, it's only 1,000,000 km in diameter, it's not that big. Luo Feng thought. To him, one step was enough to rush from one side of the island to the other. Mountain passenger however looked at the distant palaces. He looked quietly, almost as though he was immersed in it. Luo Feng too turned his head to look. Those palaces, with one look, he could tell that they were all carved from the mountain rocks of the island itself, forming many stone palaces. On the walls of the palaces, there were many ancient drawings. There were drawings of huge ships flying in the sky, drawings of warriors killing each other, headless warriors floating in the sky, and below them were drawings of large groups of people kneeling. Many drawings, almost as though they were telling of ancient history. The energy that rushed towards him, that was the energy of another ancient civilization, and just the carvings and drawings were filled with endless longing. That intense longing even affected Luo Feng's state of mind. What a terrifying civilization. What a terrifying warrior. Luo Feng said softly. Mountain passenger looked at Luo Feng. You can tell? I didn't see anything else, just that the ship flying in the sky, from the looks of it, that ship is a universe ship. To be able to create such an unbelievable treasure like the universe ship, how could such a civilization not be terrifying? Luo Feng exclaimed, and the carver, his power should be extremely terrifying. Teacher. Luo Feng turned to look at Mountain Passenger. Could it really have been an extremely powerful civilization? Maybe. Mountain Passenger sighed. Even if there was, that's something that happened before the reincarnation era. The two sacred lands universe have existed for eons. When they were here, the universe ship was already broken, and it was already one of the 3 great danger zones. Only a few ancient ruins can be found. My method of creating treasures is also a result of some special encounters, along with my own comprehension. Like the 7 true lords of the God-eyed clan, they too have acquired some ancient inheritances and studied them carefully. They even have some combination attacks. Like the 2 sacred lands universe, their battle methods and training methods are very unique. 1, it's because of the teachings of the sacred land universe's ancestor, and 2, it's probably because they've discovered many ancient ruins. Sacred land universe. Luo Feng couldn't help but say, Teacher, those 2 sacred land universe's ancestors, no one has seen them before. This involves the secrets of the universe's strongest warrior. Mountain Passenger looked at Luo Feng. Don't think too much about it, work hard and train. When you become the universe's strongest warrior, you will naturally know many secrets. If you haven't reached that level, even if you know, you're just looking for trouble. Let's go in and take a look. Mountain Passenger headed straight in. Following the door of a palace, they walked in. Luo Feng and Mountain Guest walked side by side as they looked around. The entire palace was filled with ancient carvings. There were countless pictures of life celebrating, pictures of slaughter, pictures of leaders roaring. The countless pictures were revealing the ancient civilization. It was a very mysterious and powerful civilization. Yearning? Luo Feng could feel the yearning within the sculptor. Luo Feng even suspected that these palaces were imitations of famous buildings from the ancient civilizations, because some of the buildings in the sculpted pictures were the same as the ones in the Stone Palace group. After a while, after looking at the many ancient palaces, Luo Feng and Mountain Passenger entered the center. Teacher. Luo Feng suddenly realized that Mountain Passenger had stopped. Luo Feng followed his gaze, looking over. The distant huge wall had complicated words. Those words were ancient and mysterious. It was the same words the large amounts of treasures sent over. Even though he didn't recognize them, he could clearly understand the meaning. Mistake. This is a mistake. After paying such a huge price, all it brings is death. Death one by one, haha, I've broken through, so what if I've broken through, it's still death, death. The words left on the wall were filled with anger, sorrow, unwillingness, regret. It made Luo Feng and Mountain Passenger stunned for a while. The unknown words on the stone wall carried with it an intense emotion, causing Luo Feng to feel as though he was in a frenzy. It was as though an ancient being was roaring in his ears. Death by death, no one can escape, no one can escape. I can't accept this, I can't accept this. Following which, Luo Feng regained his consciousness. The emotions contained within the words are actually this intense, it even contains his willpower. Luo Feng was speechless, a terrifying being that fell in who knows which era. Just the words he left behind could be like this, just how strong was he? However, these words are the same as the words the treasures use to transmit messages. Supreme treasures are born one after another, but no one knows who created them. Primal universe? Cosmic sea? Or something else? From the looks of it, many of the treasures that have been passed down are probably related to this destroyed civilization. Luo Feng guessed. Luo Feng turned to look at his teacher beside him. Mountain Guest watched silently. With his strength, he wasn't affected by the strong emotions of the words. However, his gaze was somewhat sorrowful. After a while, he slowly shook his head and looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, the mysterious warrior who left these words, is stronger than me, stronger than any of the strongest warriors in the universe. Even your human ancestor might not be a match for him. Maybe the two sacred lands universe's ancestors could compare. He was so strong, yet his ending was so tragic. Mountain Passenger shook his head. Our cosmic sea currently has 3 rebirth eras and 2 sacred lands universe. After thousands or even tens of thousands of rebirth eras, who knows who and which race will survive? Luo Feng was stunned. Yes, not much. After another 3 rebirth eras, of all the warriors, probably only the 2 sacred lands universe would survive. To create another sacred land universe was too difficult. Teacher. Luo Feng's gaze was as sharp as a knife. He said softly yet firmly, the hope may be slim, but with the 2 sacred lands there, we all see hope. No matter what, we have to give it a shot. I've only lived for a little over 100,000 years. Compared to a rebirth era, it's incomparably short. If I can reach this step today, then in 100 million years, 10 billion years, or even longer, I'll definitely be able to go even higher. Even if there's no path, we have to find a path. Furthermore, warriors have succeeded before. Mountain Passenger looked at Luo Feng, smiling and nodding. Ha, I've been affected by those words. Young people are indeed different, full of drive. This drive is what we need. Like those old people who have lived for countless years, unable to break through for so long, their drive has long been worn out. Work hard, who knows in the future I'll need you. Need? Luo Feng's thoughts. Let's go. Let's see what the experts who lived here left behind, said the mountain traveler. Luo Feng followed. Luo Feng followed. Both Luo Feng and mountain sitting guest were extraordinary. As they roamed around, their figures were like flowing lights. With a glance they could remember everything, so their speed was naturally extremely fast. Luo Island was known as Ning sect as God. But there isn't a single plant on this island, not a single treasure, just endless palaces. Luo Feng thought to himself. Suddenly, the mountain guest in front of him took a step forward and with a so, entered the 3rd palace in the distance. Luo Feng, come here. Mountain Passenger's voice was filled with excitement. Luo Feng increased his speed and arrived at the palace in an instant. In the huge courtyard of the palace, there were some elegant decorations and carvings. There was also a huge decorative stone wall in the courtyard. The stone wall was about 1,000 meters tall and 2,000 meters long. The entire stone wall emitted an incomparably powerful energy. This is. Luo Feng could see with a glance that the stone wall had countless tiny engravings on it. The countless engravings seemed to be embedded in the stone wall. The stone wall was like their nest, finally forming a huge 3D engraved engravings. Rumble. An energy rushed towards Luo Feng's consciousness. Originally there was only a stone wall in front of them, but now, everything changed. The stone wall seemed to contain a world, and there were countless life forms in that world. There were stone life forms, metal life forms, flesh life forms, billions of life forms, and all of them were kneeling in a single direction. They were worshipping, and their mouths uttered the same words, devil puppet, demon puppet. The sound was like a tsunami. Luo Feng, wake up. A powerful god energy rushed towards Luo Feng, causing him to wake up. Teacher. Luo Feng turned to look at his teacher. Within he was filled with shock. It was too terrifying. What technique was this? He had studied the engravings and had carefully studied the miniature universe engravings before. However, the miniature universe engravings, compared to the vast and mysterious engravings on the stone wall, was like comparing a flame to a star. And Luo Feng was certain that the scene he saw before was caused by the engravings on the stone wall. And the being that created the engravings, if he truly unleashed that technique, would definitely be able to make trillions of life forms submit. At least the universe lord wouldn't be able to resist it and would instantly become his slave. You sure are daring. The moment you arrived, you immediately looked at the engravings on the stone wall. This engravings was left behind by an ancient being. It's profound and unfathomable. Even I can only understand a little of it. Mountain Passenger pointed to the side. I'll let you look here first. Luo Feng followed the direction his teacher pointed. It was the courtyard wall. There were some words left behind on it. With one look, one could tell that it was left behind by the same being as the crazy words he saw before. I've finally broken through. However, death will still come soon. I can't accept it. I regret it. However, it's too late. It's all too late. One by one they die. I've reached a new level and comprehended my strongest technique. However, it's too late. This engravings represents my pinnacle, my pinnacle. Short words. It seemed as though when writing this, the hatred wasn't as strong anymore. There was only sadness. Luo Feng looked at the words on the wall. He understood immediately. The engravings on the stone wall from before actually represented that being's pinnacle. This isn't the first time. Mountain Passenger said. In the 3 great danger areas like the core areas, there will always be historical remains. Some of them were left behind by countless absolute beings from before the reincarnation era. Of the historical remains I've seen, including this one, there are a total of 9 examples. Some have great uses while others have no use at all. Luo Feng nodded. Even he who had obtained Jie Fanzi's historical remains found this too. A few of the strongest beings that could enter the core areas of the 3 great danger areas, it wasn't strange for them to find many historical remains. This being only wanted to prove himself. Mountain Passenger shook his head. He didn't have the intention to inherit it. If he did, even if he didn't give detailed instructions, he would at least leave behind 10 engravings from the lowest to the highest, so that later generations could study them. However, he directly left behind the most heavenly engravings here. Even I can't train in it, who can? The god-eyed race was once lucky and found a complete inheritance left behind by an ancient being. Mountain Passenger exclaimed. Why don't I have that kind of luck? LuoFeng, I told you not to look at the stone wall. You're looking again. Mountain Passenger couldn't help but say. At this time LuoFeng was looking at the stone wall. However, he was only looking at a corner of the stone wall. He wasn't looking at the entire engravings like before. That corner was about 1/10,000th of the entire engravings. Countless miniature engravings formed together, even piercing through the stone wall. It gave off a feeling of the universe being the basic particles, and the basic particles forming life. Those miniature engravings, every one of them was very beautiful. The countless miniature engravings construction made Luo Feng completely immersed. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, space. Merging the origin laws? Bullshit. None of them. This is a completely different, even more exquisite and unfathomable. Luo Feng was completely shocked. Suddenly, Luo Feng, wake up. Mountain Passenger shouted. Luo Feng turned to look at his teacher. Teacher, I'm not affected this time. I'm very awake. You've been looking at it for over 3 days. Mountain Passenger shook his head helplessly. Don't tell me I've been standing here the entire time? Even though these engravings are mysterious and unfathomable, they're not on the same path as me. 3 days? Luo Feng was stunned. He was completely immersed in it. Time passed really quickly. Teacher, these engravings are incomparably profound. I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to understand them even after 1 trillion years. However, I've started from the most basic comprehension. It's allowed me to have some understanding of the engravings. My engravings have been stuck at the pinnacle of the universe night for a very long time. I feel that this is my chance to break through. Mountain Passenger laughed. That's right. It's useless to me. However, you're also walking on the engravings path. The engravings path requires you to observe more engravings and study more. Only then will you have a chance of breaking through. You've been here for 3 days. I've also looked at it for 3 days. I've comprehended some things too. I've comprehended the 5 great engravings. Take a look. Hua. Mountain Passenger pointed at the tall wall of the courtyard. Immediately, countless tiny engravings appeared on the stone wall. They were all huge engravings. Similarly, the 5 great engravings were much more profound than the miniature universe engravings. They were on 5 different positions on the wall. These 5 great engravings were comprehended by me. They all have 1,000th of that absolute art's power. With this as a springboard, your comprehension will be even faster. Mountain Passenger said directly. Luo Feng looked at the 5 great engravings. He couldn't help but be shocked. No wonder he was the one who created the most powerful treasures. His power was indeed terrifying. Stop looking. It's time to leave. Mountain Passenger laughed. This island is very peaceful and there's no danger. You just have to leave a god energy clone here and you can slowly comprehend it. Do you know, there's a huge commotion happening in the outside world. I've already felt the powerful ripples outside. It's probably the strongest people in the universe fighting. The strongest people in the universe fighting? Luo Feng was shocked. Otherwise, why would I wake you up? Mountain Passenger laughed. Take care of your god energy clone here. Even though it's very weak, no one will attack it. It'll be fine. You can completely comprehend it here. Let's go and take a look. If we make it in time, we might even be able to see the scene of the battle. Hee, who knows, the one fighting might very well be the creator of the huge axe. Hearing that the battle outside could very well involve the creator of the huge axe, Luo Feng couldn't stay still any longer. Teacher, let's hurry and leave, Luo Feng said. At the same time he turned and looked to the side. Threads of blurry god energy flew out of his body and gathered beside him, forming a human shape. It was a clone. Like the Universe Knights, they could easily use the god energy incarnation technique. Undyings however found it hard to use this technique, as their god energy was very weak. If they split too little, they wouldn't even be able to maintain their consciousness. If they split too much, like splitting 50% of their body, it would cause the body's battle strength to be very weak. This resulted in the god energy incarnation technique being rarely seen among the Undyings. However, it was much easier for the Universe Knights to use it. Just like when the Primal Planet opened, many of the Great Alliance's Knights entered. Many of them left their incarnations behind. Alright. Let's leave now. Mountain Passenger didn't hesitate. A few seconds later, a towering green mountain rose into the air and flew high up into the sky. Immediately after, the mountain guest displayed the huge mysterious pattern and activated the hidden space. Then he was directly teleported out. The secret space. There was only a lake, an island and a god energy incarnation left. Endless ice layer land, the green mountain appeared once again. So, the green mountain swiftly flew into the distance, completely ignoring any danger. Compared to the other places in the abyss, that secret space is simply paradise. Luo Feng exclaimed, there's no danger, it's very peaceful, no wonder that absolute being from back then stayed there. And the methods to enter and exit are very profound, I've seen teacher use it before, yet I still can't learn it. When you become the strongest in the universe, you'll be able to learn it. Mountain Passenger looked at Luo Feng. Right, let me remind you, your god energy incarnation best stay there and study it well. Don't suddenly disperse it. I don't have the time to send you in. Understood. Luo Feng smiled. With his engravings technique, he might be able to fight against the universe lords. However, compared to the strongest experts in the universe, compared to the ancient existences that were even more terrifying than the strongest experts in the universe, he was still too inexperienced. Since he could study that existence's strongest technique this time, he naturally wouldn't give up so easily. In any case, it's just a divine power incarnation. At most, I'll just live there forever. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. No matter what, I have to study it thoroughly. My secret technique is completely dependent on it. Shwa. As they spoke, the speed of the mountain peak became increasingly faster. It had already broken through 100 times the speed of light and continued to soar upwards. Wow. Luo Feng also noticed the mountain peak's extreme speed. Teacher, you're advancing at such a high speed that you've broken through the limits of the laws of circulation. It will cause quite a commotion and will be discovered by the strongest experts in the universe. Luo Feng couldn't help but to ask. Mountain Traveler sat there and leisurely poured himself a cup of fruit wine. Do I have to fly over slowly? By the time you get there, the battle will have already ended. But Luo Feng was speechless. 100 times the speed of light would probably take a few days. A few days? The battle between the strong was already fast. Even the strongest in the universe would have to fight for half an hour. Of course, this was excluding the chase battles. Some of the strong would chase and flee. It was normal for a chase to take thousands or even tens of thousands of years. However, when it came to a real battle, the time was usually very short. If he was slow, he wouldn't make it in time. If he was fast, he would be discovered. Even if I'm discovered, so what? Mountain Traveler raised his cup and tasted it, praising, Come, this wine is not bad. It was given to me by a good friend from the second reincarnation. Try it. Luo Feng laughed involuntarily. Since his teacher wasn't afraid, what was there for him to worry about? A wine given to me when I made a treasure? I have to try it. Luo Feng walked up. Mountain Traveler's speed rose rapidly. 1,000 times the speed of light, 10,000 times the speed of light, 100,000 times the speed of light. Wherever it passed, it was vast and powerful. Luo Feng drank 2 mouthfuls. Rumble, a slight tremor caused Luo Feng's expression to change. I've arrived. Mountain Traveler stood up. With a swipe of his right hand, the surrounding scenery became transparent. The entire mountain was no longer obstructing his vision. Luo Feng looked out. In the distance, he could see an incomparably glaring light. The surrounding raging winds had long dissipated. The lava flow had long stopped flowing. In front of the universe's strongest battle, these disunited universe boats naturally carried energy that was obviously weaker. That powerful ripple caused Luo Feng to tremble. I only felt the tremor when I got here. And teacher felt it when he was in the secret space. Luo Feng understood the difference between himself and the universe's strongest. After which, he didn't think about anything else and looked carefully. He wanted to see clearly if the creator of the huge axe was in the distance. Ah! Mountain Guest exclaimed in shock. One of the two parties fighting is indeed the holy-eyed race, the third true lord and the sixth true lord. However, the other is actually Jin Huang. Jin Huang. Luo Feng had heard of him before. Jin Huang, the universe's strongest. His title was the Jin Huang Demon God, also known as the Jin Huang Boy. He was originally one of the 7 pinnacle races of the second reincarnation era. However, due to a special encounter, his life form changed. He looked like a demon child that was carved out of gold. He had a total of 13 arms and could even split into 13 bodies. Even though the Dream Eclipser race only had one strongest warrior in the universe, with the power of the Jin Huang Demon God, the Dream Eclipser race was still one of the pinnacle races of the second reincarnation era. It's Jin Huang? Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, the one fighting the God-eyed race isn't Huge Axe. If because of this matter Huge Axe and the God-eyed race fought, even if they won, it would be fine. However, Huge Axe might be injured. At the same time, Luo Feng looked carefully. In the distance, space and time warped. Within that warped space and time, countless shooting stars flashed past. In the center was a huge beast. That beast was tall and majestic, similar to an octopus. A total of 13 tentacles. Looking carefully, one would realize that the entire beast's body was formed from the condensation of weapons. The 13 tentacles swept through space and destroyed everything. Rumble. Countless glaring shooting stars smashed into the beast's body. The beast's 13 tentacles madly danced, smashing away the shooting stars. There were also 2 glaring jade lights. These 2 jade lights were over 1,000,000 km long and incredibly sharp. The 2 moved side by side, piercing through the warped space and time towards the beast. The Jin Huang Demon God. Luo Feng said softly. The third and sixth true lord. These famous existences all had their own signature treasures. The Jin Huang Demon God was unleashing the Jin Huang beast in battle. It was considered second only to the ultimate treasures, comparable to the Mad Demon Destroyer armor. However, it was obvious. When the Jin Huang Demon God unleashed it, its power was obviously different from the Lord of 5 Turbot's Annihilation Godly Armor. The third true lord was called the Star Constellation True Lord. What he unleashed was the endless shooting stars. It was a domain-type ultimate treasure. It was called the Star Country. The sixth true lord was called the Blue-Eyed True Lord. What he unleashed were 2 jade lights. In truth, it was a very peculiar soul attack ultimate treasure. It was called the Blue-Eyed True Lord. Teacher, this Jin Huang Demon God isn't unleashing an ultimate treasure. He can actually defend against the third and sixth true lord? LuoFeng asked. No. The mountain guest shook his head and laughed. Firstly, Jin Huang, it seems like he's only unleashing the Jin Huang beast. In truth, the Jin Huang beast has a palace-type ultimate treasure within it. Hence, Jin Huang can easily defend against it. The third and sixth true lord aren't using their full strength either. The Star Country leader is only using a domain-type ultimate treasure to casually attack. The sixth true lord is the main attacker. The mountain guest said. And you should know that the third true lord has 2 ultimate treasures. LuoFeng nodded. Yes. The 3 strongest in the universe, the Jin Huang Demon God and the sixth true lord, each had an ultimate treasure. The third true lord had 2 ultimate treasures. This made LuoFeng sigh. In the primal universe, there were still the strongest who didn't have an ultimate treasure. However, the strongest who lived even longer in the first and second reincarnation eras, they had a higher chance of obtaining an ultimate treasure. Because they know that the Jin Huang Demon God has a palace-type ultimate treasure. Even if they let them attack, they won't be able to do anything. Hence, they didn't use their full strength. The mountain guest explained. That Jin Huang wasn't willing to be trampled on, hence he unleashed the Jin Huang beast to defend. But the weird thing is, the 2 god-eyed race's true lords clearly know that the Jin Huang Demon God has a palace-type ultimate treasure and can't be killed. Then why don't they give up? They're probably communicating. The mountain guest said. Let me take a look. With the green mountain as the center, a blurry black light quickly spread into the distance and quickly rushed into the battlefield. Mountain guest. If you're watching from afar, then so be it. Why do you want to interfere? A cold roar resounded. Under the mountain guest's guidance, Luo Feng could also feel it with his divine energy. Mountain guest, don't tell me you're going to fight too? Another voice mocked. Sixth true lord, I'm just curious. Why are the 2 of you surrounding Jin Huang and attacking him? You know that he has a palace-type ultimate treasure, but you can't do anything to him. Why don't you give up? The mountain guest laughed. As for the third true lord asking me if I'm going to fight, I don't like fighting and killing. I'll just watch from the side. You haven't said why you're bothering him. Humph, this Jin Huang took the Godly Extermination Armor and silver wings. If he doesn't hand over the 2 treasures, how can we let him leave? That's right, the 2 of us can't do anything to him, but the other 2 true lord ranks of the Holy-Eyed clan are about to arrive. Even if he has the protection of the palace, the 4 of us can seal him. Blue Eyes Star. A loud voice resounded. The 2 of you are too much. Firstly, the Godly Extermination Armor and silver wings were lost in the abyss. So what if I got them? Secondly, you guys arrogantly blocked my way and asked me, which made me unhappy. That's why I said I got them. However, in reality, I didn't get the Godly Extermination Armor or silver wings. The 2 of you just didn't believe me. You think we'll believe you? The sixth true lord roared. Just because I'm here, you think I'll get them? That mountain guest is here too. Maybe he got them too. The loud voice resounded. Even if I said I got them, the 2 of you would believe me? Mountain guest mocked. Mountain passenger, you are the top master crafting treasures in the universe. See. Why would you need to come here to find the silver wings and armor? If you want them, you can craft them yourself. The third true lord's voice was casual. And you are a lone traveler. What's the point of coming here? On the contrary, Jin Huang is responsible for an entire race. Sitting mountain passenger immediately smiled. However, demon god Jin Huang was already furious. I said I didn't, but you didn't believe me. His childlike voice became even sharper. Since you don't believe me, I can't be bothered to make you believe me. I, Jin Huang, am afraid of you? I'm afraid of the holy-eyed race? Suppressing and sealing me, haha, come on. Everyone knows how powerful the 7 true lords of the holy-eyed race are when they work together. I believe you have the means to suppress and seal me. However, even if you suppress and seal me, you can at most suppress me until this reincarnation is destroyed. When this reincarnation is over, all of you from the first reincarnation era will be destroyed. When that time comes, I will naturally be able to come out again. As for my race, they live in my small universe, they are extremely safe. Jin Huang was obviously going crazy. The strongest in the universe was extremely proud. Being bullied like this, how could he not be angry? No matter how you argue, it's useless. The sixth true lord said coldly. In the depths of the distorted space-time, countless stars turned into streams of light and smashed toward the golden brilliance beast. Occasionally there were even 2 beams of jade light that broke through the air. Even if Jin Huang fought with his life on the line, he might be able to escape. However, the suction force of the abyss was shocking. He had to give it his all to escape. If he was constantly attacked by the Star Country, he wouldn't be able to escape at all. As time passed, the 2 sides continued to fight. Teacher, the treasures weren't taken by Jin Huang. However, the holy-eyed race. Luo Feng frowned. Mountain passenger snorted. You think the holy-eyed race is after the treasures? To their entire race it's just 2 treasures. Moreover, they aren't the strongest, so what? They are now surrounding Jin Huang and not letting him escape. Jin Huang taking the treasures is just an excuse. What they really want to do is to attack Jin Huang to show that the holy-eyed race is inviolable. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey? This phrase appeared in Luo Feng's mind. The first reincarnation era is about to reach its end. The holy-eyed clan was so strong, how could they be willing to be annihilated? He will definitely struggle crazily, and this is just the beginning, Mountain Passenger said. Luo Feng thought. Struggle crazily? Teacher, should we wait here? Luo Feng was hesitant. If this continues, it might take a long time until the other 2 True Lord ranks arrive, then we'll have 4 True Lord ranks. Wait, of course we have to wait. How can we miss such a wonderful event? The Mountain Traveler said. Luo Feng was worried that the 4 True Lord ranks would make a move on Teacher Mountain Traveler. However, how intelligent was his teacher? Of course he could guess that since he dared to come here, he definitely had something to rely on. Luo Feng didn't say anything more. In the 9th abyss. Such powerful fluctuations. The towering giant axe was advancing at high speed. The creator of the giant axe had long sensed the fluctuations, but in order to avoid being discovered, he had been approaching at nearly 100 times the speed of light. The ones fighting should be the strongest in the universe. Although he was not afraid of fighting. But the creator of Great Axe didn't want to be too arrogant. Time flew by. The 2 divine masters besieged the Golden Radiance Demonic God while Mountain Traveler watched the battle leisurely from afar. Oh, come out. An angry roar suddenly resounded. It was the 3rd True Lord Star Lord. His voice rumbled and spread in all directions, even passing through the domain of Mountain Guest. It caused Luo Feng and Mountain Guest's eyes to light up as they looked outside in anticipation. Mountain Guest even laughed and said, "Looks like another strong expert has arrived. Interesting. Wah." The sharp aura caused the stars to fly away. A towering giant axe flew in majestically. Simultaneously, a rough voice resounded, "The Star Lord is indeed powerful. I've heard that among the 7 True Lords of the God-eyed race in terms of strength, the 1st True Lord is number 1, and the 3rd True Lord is number 2. You're most proficient in domains. This is the first time we've met, yet you're able to discover me. You're indeed worthy of your reputation." Giant axe. The 6th True Lord immediately roared. Giant axe. The 3rd True Lord's voice was cold. Good. Haha, even the giant axe is here. The Golden Radiance Demon God laughed loudly. Interesting. Mountain Traveler laughed too. At this time, the strongest of the 5 great universes were gathered here. The arrival of the giant axe made the other 4 rather happy. Only Luo Feng was shocked and anxious. Why is the creator of the giant axe here? Is it because of me? This is troublesome. Those 2 True Lords are extremely powerful and they work together. That Golden Radiance Demon God has a palace-type treasure. His defense is the strongest. However, the creator of the giant axe can't hold his ground. Luo Feng was worried. The giant axe was the pillar of humanity, the only true pillar. The ancestor was suppressed forever and couldn't come out. If anything happened to the giant axe, he would be in deep trouble. The 3rd and 6th True Lord were indeed happy. They wanted to attack the Golden Radiance Demon God, but he had the Black Stone Shrine making him hard to deal with. Even though they saw Mountain Traveler, even though the Golden Radiance Demon God was hard to deal with, Mountain Traveler was even harder. Hence, they didn't even suspect anything, saying that Mountain Traveler couldn't get it. As the saying goes, pick the softest persimmon. The creator of the giant axe was obviously easier to deal with. That was because he didn't have an ultimate treasure. Haha, giant axe. The 3rd True Lord's voice pierced through space and time. The 2 treasures have fallen into the 9th abyss. Only you humans, my god-eyed race and the Purple Moon Sacred Land know about this. The first to arrive should be us 3. I guessed long ago. The one most likely to get the 2 treasures was you, giant axe. However, I didn't notice you, hence I thought it was the Golden Radiance Demon God. I didn't get it. The creator of the giant axe said directly. Just because you say you didn't get it? The 3rd True Lord said directly, you little primal universe humans dare to go against my god-eyed race. Whether it's to steal the treasures or that human Luo Feng killing Wu Hun, you humans deserve to die and be exterminated. The creator of the giant axe's eyes gleamed coldly. Exterminated? If you die, the primal universe humans will naturally be exterminated. The 3rd True Lord said coldly, after I kill you, let's see who else dares to go against my god-eyed race. Luo Feng, who was sitting in the mountain, was filled with rage. Wu Hun wanted to kill him, so why couldn't he kill him instead? And that god-eyed race actually wanted to take advantage of the situation to show their might, using the seemingly weak primal universe humans to show their might. He couldn't help but panic, turning to look at Mountain Passenger. Teacher, the creator of the giant axe is humanity's only pillar. He cannot fall, please help teacher. I only care about you. As for humanity's rise and fall, it has nothing to do with me. Mountain Passenger shook his head. Luo Feng was stunned. Just watch. The strongest of the universe won't fall so easily. Mountain Passenger said. The 2 True Lord ranks surrounded the Golden Radiance Demon God and delayed for so long. However, at this moment they instantly attacked. Haha, before you wanted to suppress and seal me, now you want to kill Giant Axe. Ah. The Golden Radiance Demon God's childish voice was filled with mockery and disdain. With me here, do you think you can succeed? Giant Axe, let's join forces and teach this god-eyed race a good lesson. Let them know that the strongest of the universe aren't so easily bullied. All right. In the distance, the creator of the Giant Axe with disheveled hair wielded the Black Giant Axe. Black light extended from the Giant Axe and covered his entire body, immediately forming a layer of armor. Dong. 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 The sounds resounded one after another, almost like a drumstick hitting one's heart. All the stars that were flying at high speeds all stopped. At the same time, a blurry silhouette emitting a blinding light appeared in mid-air. He smiled, seeming very benevolent. Countless stars stopped. At this moment, this blurry smiling man seemed like the only true god in the boundless space and time. He then laughed softly. With a thought, the eternal kingdom will appear. A star split open and swiftly transformed, becoming a four-hooved horned beast. Another star split open, instantly transforming into a two-headed snake-type mutant beast. Countless stars split open, and millions of strange beasts appeared. These countless strange beasts all prostrated themselves, facing the misty man, prostrating themselves before him, letting out hoarse cries. That absolute pressure caused the entire universe space to freeze. Luo Feng watched from afar within the Green Mountain Peak and felt the pressure. At the same time, he recalled the scene in the secret space where trillions of beings knelt within the demon puppet technique. It felt very similar. Even though the move before him was simple, it already had that style. The God-eyed race once obtained a complete ancient inheritance. Hence, their battle style is also that of that powerful civilization. Mountain Passenger said, "It's very similar to what you saw before. Of the 7 true lords, the 3rd true lord's strength is indeed number 2. This move alone is impressive." Mountain Passenger exclaimed, "With this pressure, that Golden Radiance's movement speed will be extremely slow. It won't be able to join forces with the giant axe." The Golden Radiance beast struggled with all its might, wanting to fly. However, its speed was ridiculously slow. It roared anxiously, "Giant axe, this pressure is too terrifying. This is probably the ancient inheritance of the God-eyed race. Be careful." The creator of the giant axe wielded the black godly axe. However, the huge blurry figure floated in midair and laughed lightly, "Giant axe, this is the second time I've gone all out. The last time was when the 7 true lords joined forces to kill Kong Luo of the second reincarnation. Without an ultimate treasure, you'll definitely die. If an ultimate treasure wasn't used, one wouldn't be able to see it from the surface." "Blue-eyed true lord," the blurry figure said, "make your move." "Okay." The 6th true lord's voice resounded. The blurry figure smiled and said softly, "Eternal kingdom, billions of star beasts, combine, eternal true God." A peculiar music started to seep into one's soul. 2 beams of jade light started to shine in the endless space. That was the blue-eyed true lord's ultimate treasure, the blue-eyed god light. The 2 beams of light had complicated engravings on them. At the same time, they shot out trillions of light towards the star beasts. True God. True God. True God. Hundreds of millions of strange beasts raised their heads and roared at the same time. Then, with a swoosh, they quickly gathered towards the azure divine light. The trillions of star beasts formed their bodies. The blue-eyed god light was the soul. The ancient technique was the core. It formed an endless majestic beast that stood in mid-air. It had 9 huge heads, 36 pairs of wings, 108 pairs of claws and 9 different tails. It formed this huge beast. As it stood in mid-air, the origin laws had long dissipated. The pressure it emitted was even stronger than the strongest warriors of the universe. Silence. Complete silence. The Golden Radiance Demon God was silent and no longer struggling. The creator of the giant axe stared hard at the majestic beast. Luo Feng, who was in the stone peak, was shocked and anxious. Mountain Guest too was shocked. "Eternal true God." The 3rd true lord pointed at the creator of the giant axe. "Kill him."